Good morning, my dear friends. I welcome you to a talk on the Henry Fayol's Principles of Management today. In the introductory session, we need to know that a management principle reflects the general state of affairs and serves like a statement of general truth about the organization. It is the guiding principles of management which will help to guide the rules and also the enacted laws for the managerial action. This is the opinion given by Herbert G. Hicks. These principles of management are designed primarily to provide for the better understanding of the business and also the circumstances and in approving the organizational performance. Now we are looking at the great man Henry Fayol, who has advocated his principles on the management philosophy. In fact, there are a large number of thinkers and they have also expressed their views on the management. But all these have been developed with a view to assist the functional managers in discharging their responsible functions in an effective manner in the day-to-day job chart. Of course, there are a large number of principles of management contributed by the authors belonging to the traditional school of management thought. Mr. Henry Fayol, a French industrialist, has also contributed nearly 14 principles of the management for the first time in the year 1916. During the period from 1920 to 1940, many others have made so many contributions, and over that, various tests have been conducted and have developed their observations over the management. Now, there are a good number of principles. Now, let us consider those principles which are contributed by Henry Fayol in our further discussions. There are around 14 principles, namely division of work, coexistence of authority and responsibility, strict discipline to be followed, and there should be unity of command and unity of direction should be there. In the organization, the interests of the individual must be in subordination with the general interests of the organization. Next aspect is with respect to the remuneration and salaries or wage administration. The next principle is with regard to the authority which needs to be centralized for effective monitoring. Next thing is about the scalar chain which has to follow in a manner, and there should be an order which must be adhered to scrupulously. The next aspect is about the equity in the organization. The next important point raised by Henry Fayol is about the stability in the organization. Next comes the initiative, drive, and interest to be evinced by the workers. The last but not least is about all the esprit de crops. Now we will discuss one after the another in detail. Now let us see this flow chart. This flow chart is self-explanatory. The principles of management advocated by Henry Fayol is finally concentrating here, where the division of labor, line of authority is in the hands of centralized system of monitoring, which will be supported by unity of direction and equity, and this will lead to the principle. In this process, the subordination of individual interests with a view to achieve the organizational goals, where it has to be subordination into the institutional goals should be ensured. It should be coupled with the right authority and the corresponding responsibility, and for which we need to pay the remuneration in the form of salary and wages to the personnel with the proper maintenance of wage administration. In addition to this, the tenure of service of the employees is all the more essential. If they are not secured, but the workforce will not be able to deliver the desired results. Hence, it is all the more essential to have the stability in the tenure of the employees. While coming to the discipline, so the authority should ensure that there is unity of command, which is followed by an order for which it has to obey and comply with in a disciplined manner, where the workers have to evince their initiative and interest, followed by esprit de corps. Now we will go in detail. The first and foremost principle is with regard to the division of work. This division of work is a source for developing the specialization in the services in a job. Each and every job in the organization should be designed and handled in such a way, and the work should be entrusted to the technically specialized personnel of that particular job or trade where there is specialization in the job, because this kind of division of labor or work will promote efficiency and directs the worker to gain efficiency, because it is also permitting a member in the organization to work in a particular area, and it will reduce the scope of his responsibility. Henry Fayol advocated the division of work not only at the factory level but also in the management levels as well. The second principle for which Henry Fayol has attached importance is about the coexistence of proper authority and corresponding responsibility. Now, the authority, as we know, is the power given in the exercise of the control of the activities in the discharging of the duties as a matter of routine, whereas the responsibility is the state of being made answerable for the decisions taken and the actions performed during the course of discharging of duty, and it is made accountable for the actions which needs to be ratified if necessary. Now, in the words of Henry Fayol, the authority which is supposed to be the right and one can exercise the power of command where he, he will pass the orders in getting the things done, and the same level of corresponding responsibility needs to be balanced in the performance of necessary functions. Finally, Henry Fayol saw the discipline to be present in the workforce. Basically, the term discipline expects the sense of high degree of obedience, application, energy, and the utmost respect for the superiors. With an institution without discipline is of no use. According to him, there should be a penalty for the indisciplined persons for their poor performance, and there should be a fair rating coupled with compensation for the able and competent persons who follow the strict discipline and ensure fair supervision. The next aspect is all about the unity of command. A subordinate in general should take orders from only one boss. As we have seen, Mr. Henry Fayol claimed that if the unity of command is violated, then the authority is undetermined. Discipline will land in the danger.
అవిలో ఉన్నాడే ప్రసాద్ వాళ్ళ తమ్ముడు అంగనప్పుడు సేమ్ తెల్లగా ఒక ఆయన అద్దాలే అన్న కొడుకు ఆయన పోతాడు ఆయన దీపావళి రాజా పోతున్నారు రాజా ట్రాక్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తారు చూడు ఇదే డోర్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తారు రాజా అయినా అది ఏం సబ్జెక్ట్ నిన్న నైట్ రాసింది యూట్యూబ్ లో అప్లోడ్ చేసింది ఏం సబ్జెక్ట్ బేసిక్స్
అది ప్రిన్సిపల్స్ ఆఫ్ మేనేజ్మెంట్.
సరే ఇది పాస్ తీసేసి
చేసే ఇది కొంచెం
నొప్పు దాన్ని అంతే
సింధు So, the need of the hour in the organization is to ensure that one worker will work under one boss. He cannot be made to work under two bosses, so he cannot discharge his duty effectively. So, discipline will be in danger, and there is possibility of the order getting disturbed, and there is a threat for the stability in the organization. The next comes the unity of direction. This is talking about the flow of things in a particular manner. Each and every group of activity is having some objective which is linked with the organizational goal, and it must have one head and the plan for achieving the target. It will create a sense of dedication to achieve this purpose, and also the loyalty must be there in the execution of the works in the duties. Next aspect is about the subordination of individual interests to the general interests of the organization. Here, the organization is of the utmost importance, and the top priority needs to be attached to the fulfillment of the tasks which will accomplish the organizational goal. If necessary, the individuals need to set aside their personal agenda and keep their interests aside, and they should join in the mainstream in the pursuit of the general interests of the organization. Hence, the need for subordination of individual interests to the general interests of the organization is advocated in detail in this principle of management. The next aspect is all about the remuneration, where the salary and wage administration should plan and also prepare a system where the fair wages and adequately paid wages must be prevailed, which will help the workforce to discharge their duties effectively. So, a fulfilled service is one where the worker is getting the desired remuneration for his work in the discharge of duties. Here, he should be given the maximum satisfaction with regard to the incentives. Now, the incentives are of two types. Some are related with the financial benefits, say financial incentives like cash awards, prizes, hike in the pay, and attached fringe benefits therewith. In addition to this, there are some non-financial privileges in the form of non-financial incentives where he will be given some social esteem and other benefits which will make him and drive him in a good spirit, which will help in his contribution to the productive capacity to be enhanced in a greater measure, which will help to achieve the organizational goals effectively. The next aspect for which Henry Fayol has attached the importance is about the centralization of authority, where there should be a central authority wherein the control in the organization must be present, and that authority needs to exercise overall direction of the control of all the parts of the organization. But here, the degree of centralization of authority should vary according to the needs of the situation. The next aspect to which the organization should attach the importance is about the scalar chain. It is like a link chain of the supervisors from the top to the bottom with highest authority to the lowest rank, where it should be short circuited and an employee should feel free to contact his superior officer in times of any guidance or clarification and get his issue resolved. This will promote a healthy and cooperative climate in the organization, which will be conducive and a congenial atmosphere will be promoted, which will help directly the productive power of the organization. The next aspect is all about the order. It is the principle or order which is applicable to both materials as well as men. An organization ought to have been based on a system which is an orderly, rationally thought out plan of action. A plan for each and everyone in his place is the motto of this order. So, if it is strictly followed, the entire system will go in a particular order, which will be beneficial to the labor force as well as the management in total to the organization in the industry. The next aspect is all about the equity. In the organization, we must ensure that there is kindness and there should be justice for all, which has to be shown by the management in dealing with their subordinates. Naturally, if this kind of justified managerial practice prevails, naturally this will attract the workforce to be loyal and with much more commitment and display their devotion to duty and also have the same spirit among the employees working in the organization. The next aspect is about the stability of the tenure of the organization. Nowadays, there's a lot of threat for the job security. The personnel are very much scared about their security of service because of the advances of scientific research and development and technological innovations. They are afraid and rather scared about these things. So the workforce, that is the personnel in the organization, should be given the stability of their service, and efficiency needs to be rewarded suitably. This will motivate them to work and deliver their contribution in a much better way. To ensure the success and execute the plans in a proper manner, we have to formulate the plans with so much of caution, and we have to drive a kind of initiative among the workers before they are being executed. This will give the returns in the long term in the industry. Next aspect is about the Esprit D Corps, where we know the good old saying, union is strength. Here also, Henry Fayol reiterated the same. He advocated that the whole organization should function effectively as a team, and every team member should work to the best of his ability and knowledge to the accomplishment of organizational goals. Here, he emphasized the need for the importance of a good communication system which must be present in the organization for achieving the team work, and a mixed blend of all the above principles in a right proportion will definitely yield the better results, and which will drive the organization to move with the longer strides towards success in the years to come. Now, in this session, we have covered the discussion on the principles of management and its definition in detailed way, which are contributed by Sir Henry Fayol on the principles of management. Now, with this, we end this session. Thank you, one and all.